Of course, DJ Wado, we are here with Marz. They tell me you were like a real life hippie. That's what your husband was saying.
Yes. For a second.
For a second?
I was a clean hippie, though. I just want to make that known.
You got to put that out there.
Yes, I took showers, and I used soap. No
okay,
patchouli oil.
Because you've been telling us some good stories. Tell us some good hippie stories. What's some crazy stuff that happened to you in your hippie days?
Okay. All right. So I used to move around a lot.
Okay.
Different reasons. And
I don't know if that sounds crazy yet. You used to move around a lot. Okay. We're going somewhere.
I used to move around a lot.
Okay.
On East Coast. I think the furthest inland I was in Nashville. But this particular time I moved to Maryland.
Maryland, okay.
Yes. And it was a mansion that was built in the 60s that had its original furniture. And it was a group of people, like a group of us were there. And they were like, oh, yeah, you going to stay with us? And I'm like, yeah. They're like, for how long? I'm like, I don't know yet. And they're like, oh, it's fine. So they're like, here, come on, we'll show you where your room is. And so I go downstairs, and it's like wall-to-wall bunk beds. Like bunk beds that are used as closets or bunk beds that are used as beds. And they were like, yeah, just pick a bed and pick a place where you want to put your clothes. And there you go. There's your room.
Wow.
I'm like, all right. So I just lived there. And it was like, I wanted to say it had to be like 50 of us.
50?
Yeah, because it was like on a farm. And then it was the mansion. That's it. That's all I'm going to say.
What?
Yes, I stood there.
Okay. So let me back up. How do you end up somewhere like that?
You know people.
You're just rolling. Just out.
You know people that know people.
Man, I need a place to stay. Yeah, come in our mansion.
Come in our mansion with the 60s. And yeah, it was like the 60s threw up in there. It was like.
I mean, so what would everybody do? This is out on a farm, something, and this is like in a remote area, right?
Yeah, but it was close to D.C. Like, we would drive into the city, I guess.
Okay.
Real fast. Like 20 minutes. So it wasn't that far out. Whatever.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, so you would say, okay, so I got to ask you about this.
Where do you go from there?
I don't know where you go from there. But you said you lived in a warehouse before.
I did, in Nashville. All right, so that one was a couple of friends of mine. They were running this event, and I was living in New York. I had a really good job in New York. I was working for like an entertainment lawyer. Okay. I was basically a paralegal.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, and whatever.
Had that good money.
Yeah, making living the New York life, Going to Midtown every day. And so my friend hits me up, and she's like, we're setting up this event in Nashville. You want to come? And I'm like, yeah, I have nothing holding me here.
Except this nice paying job.
Exactly. But I didn't have my own place. I was living with my brother, and I didn't have like a boyfriend or anybody. So I wasn't married, didn't have kids or whatever. And so I was like, yeah, I'll go. And so I told my boss, and I told him that we're going to do this event. It was a Christian event. And so then my boss was like, so you leaving me for Jesus? And I'm like, yeah, I guess so. And then he's like, can I tell you to stay? He offered me more money and all this stuff. And I'm like, no, I don't need it. I'm just going to go.
Live in this warehouse in Nashville.
I lived in a warehouse. I lived in a warehouse for almost a year.
So not loft. These weren't loft, a converted warehouse into loft apartments.
No, it was a dirty warehouse. It's nice now. I looked, some church bought it, and they like renovated and made it like a hall, and they hooked it up. But when I was there, it was
grimy.
It was grimy. It was just a dark warehouse that I needed to use my phone at night as a light.
Wow.
To walk through. Rats, nasty fridge. But I lived there, and it was fun.
So I'm just trying to piece together this whole story, right? So your mother, you said, led worship at the church, was singing background for some Christian music artists. So would you say you were always a Christian?
That's a good question.
Good question, right?
Gosh.
You were one of the church kids.
I was a church.
Were you a Christian hippie? I'm just trying to figure out when Jesus came into this.
No. Everything was Christian based. I guess you'd call me a Christian hippie. It wasn't like life of lawlessness.
So it's kind of like a
anything.
Christian rapper, Christian singer, Christian hippie.
Christian hippies. Like, I met a few interesting people. Like, I met the moon worshipers. They're pretty interesting. But, so, I mean, it's like anything. Like, if you're a Christian rapper or whatever, you're going to meet the odd rappers that, or whatever, the secular rappers or rapper or whatever.
The moon worshipers.
Yes, so I met the moon worshipers. But I
don't even know if I want to know what they
believe. You don't
want
to know. It's just weird. And, but yes, I grew up in church, and then, I don't know, I'd say I got scared into salvation when I was little, because they used to do this play, Heaven's Gates and Hell's Flames. AG churches. And basically it's like fire and brimstone, like it's like a bunch of skits and people die and then you have to go to heaven or hell and then Satan comes out and he's all scary. So I was like 5, I'm watching this. So I'm like, I don't want to go there.
I want to go to heaven.
I want to go to where the aluminum foil is. I want to go there. And then I just grew up in church. I never really wilded out as a kid. Like, I'm the only daughter, like the only girl in the family. Yeah. I'm the youngest. It's like a lot of years between my brothers and I. And so they're very overprotective. So I didn't have to.
So they had 8 shotguns ready
basically, I didn't even have the chance to wild out. I couldn't even if I wanted to. My parents were very strict. So I just grew up in church, did things, and I got into a lot of stuff and I guess different denominations of church.
Sure.
I grew up AG, then I went non-denominational, and right now I'm Reformed, which that's where I am. That's where I'm going to stay. And, but, I think it didn't really click until I always had that conviction. I did my stuff. Even when I went out to college, I did my stuff. No one's perfect. I sin, I mess up, do my thing. But I always had that conviction. I've always ran back to God. So in that sense, I would say, yeah, I was a Christian. I was just struggling.
So it sounds like that play worked.
It did work. I was scared.
That's good. It's good. More with Marz in a minute.
Hey.
On the way to radio.